Good afternoon. Good afternoon, my YouTube family. Good afternoon, Clubhouse. I see you over there, Alfred and Ricky. I see you. Thank you for joining me in this on this. It was sunny. I'm looking outside and it's the clouds are sneaking up on us. But yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy, and you know what time it is. It is that time. It is keeping up with Congress. It is keeping up with Congress, family. I come to you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. And I bring it over to the clubhouse space from 5:30 until the top of the hour. A lot is going on. A lot is going on, family. And I'm going to dive in, but I like to do a little bit of commentary before I get into this reparations information. I know that we are navigating these COVID spaces and everybody is, careful, as careful as we can be. I'm assuming, I just want to kind of shed some light. I've been going through some of these clubhouse spaces, y'all, and I can just tell you that the vax versus the anti-vax. This is getting out of hand, getting out of control, and it's disheartening that this is where we are. There is such a and it's something I want to talk about. I have yet to talk about it as a part of what I do Monday through Thursday with keeping up with Congress. I haven't talked about it because I didn't know where to kind of navigate and how to navigate, but I know what I feel. I know what I've read. I understand what I understand. So I do want to talk about this today over in the clubhouse space at the half hour. So yeah, let's talk about it. I don't like what I'm seeing with the anti-vax versus the vax. And we have a reparations movement that we gotta stay focused on. So when I see us fighting over that, when this is so urgent, and not that COVID isn't, but hell, I think we all are smart enough in this time and season to do what we need to do to for our own safety and our own health and our own health. We know what we need to do for ourselves personally. So I don't want us to be distracted by the COVID season that we're in, because it's bad and things are bad, yes. But hell, it's gonna be worse if we don't get this reparations. It's gonna be worse. And I don't know what worse could look like, but not having the resources we need to survive in this America, not having some land, not having some food, not having being able to provide for our families in this COVID season and moving forward. We got to get reparations. So I want us to get back on track. I want us to get back on code, as we say in the movement. We got to get back on code and not be caught up in what's happening around us. We have to deal with it, but we got to keep our blinders on and focus on this reparations movement. All right. So that's my commentary. That's where I'm at. That's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm seeing in these social media streets. You know, do what you need to do for yourself to stay safe. And hell, if you need to stay home and stay out of, don't be around people, do that if that makes you comfortable. If you feel, I wear my mask for my safety and for the safety of others. That's my personal choice. It's people that don't wear their mask. And if I come across somebody and they don't want to wear their mask, I know not to get too close. I'm not going to say, I'm just won't get too close, but I'm not going to tell you what to do and what not to do. Who am I? Who am I? My body, my choice. My body, my choice. I don't like these possible mandates. I know what to do to keep myself safe. So that's what we have to do as a nation. So let's have this conversation, y'all. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you, specific to the vax versus the unvax. So let's have that conversation on Clubhouse today. So let's dive in. I always like to bring you some reparations information. We're still following Evanston, Illinois, where all of these municipalities are kind of framing their work. This mayor's association group, whatever they're calling themselves, these group of mayors that have decided to initiate reparations in their respective cities, they're watching Evanston. We're watching Evanston. So here's an article. It says Illinois city reparations plan was heralded by locals, say it's a cautionary tale. It says in March, Evanston, Illinois beat the federal government to become the first to pass a reparations plan in America. It gained national attention, heralded by celebrities such as Danny Glover, who called the debate over reparations the most intense conversation that we're going to have in the 21st century. But just months ahead of putting it in action, local residents are warning national advocates to view Evanston as a cautionary tale as much as a historic first. It says there's so much misinformation or lack of information that Black residents here in Evanston still don't understand what's what this program is. And it says, and there are plenty of Black residents that still believe that they're going to be getting direct cash payments, because that's how the reparations program was framed when it was first introduced in 2019. This is Sebastian Knowles. He's a Black Evanston resident and one of the founders of Evanston Rejects Racist Reparations. This is a group formed in February of 2021 to draw attention to community concerns with the reparations plan. See, some of these, this seems to be, some of these people in Evanston are paying attention to what reparations really is, and to see reparations in Evanston without direct cash payments. They're concerned, and they founded Evanston Rejects Racist Reparations. So it says there's also the problem that most of the thousands of people who were negatively affected by racist housing policies in Evanston will never see a check. It says the Evanston plan will provide housing grants to qualified Evanston residents using funds from cannabis sales. Since Evanston currently has $400,000 in its restorative housing program fund, if each applicant received the maximum $25,000 grant amount, it says only 16 families or individuals will be receiving a check in late February. It says for those who do receive the money, $25,000 makes a small dent in the cost of buying a house in Evanston, where the average house sells for about $300,000. It says later this summer, applications for the housing grants will open to the city's Black residents. The city intends to select recipients from the application pool through a random lottery. So first of all, they got to spend the money. It comes from, through this housing fund. They got to spend the money specifically on housing. That's not reparations. And then you get selected through a pool or a lottery. What the hell? That ain't reparations, y'all. As we know, reparations is federal. Reparations is federal. Reparations is federal, y'all. This is not an initiative any city or any state can handle. They don't have the budget, the funding. They don't. This is a federal initiative. So anything that's done on a local level, it won't be enough, and it won't be equitable. The article goes on to say Evanston has 12,000 Black residents, but no estimates have been calculated for how many of them potentially qualify to receive the housing grant or what meeting the full need would cost. This person says, I don't see how you can repair something if you don't really know what it is that you have to repair. This is Leslie Williams, a Black Evanston resident who opposed the housing grant proposal. So they haven't even done a study, y'all, to figure out who's old, how much is old. No calculation in Evanston. This is why we got to be careful with these local initiatives. We already know what happened in Leonardtown, and I keep referring back to it. Leonardtown is a community outside of Athens back in the 60s. These people were pushed off their land through urban renewal, pushed off their land in the city of Athens. because UGA wanted to build a dormitory and a parking deck. The city in 2021, they're trying to rectify this. In 2021, they're going to give these people monies that they can't give them. So they're taking the money that should belong to these Town residents, funneling this money through the city of Athens, doing and offering broadband to the city of Athens, giving Athens employees, the city employees, a raise, and building a cultural center with those people's damn money, y'all. The money that belonged to these people. So you see what happens when the cities get to be in control of reparations. This is real time, 2021. This article goes on to say, but city residents worry that the 10 million committed to reparations may not eventually be made available if the city doesn't raise enough money for the cannabis tax. Says if this person says, if we're really treating this as an ethical obligation, we should treat this the way we treat other obligations. For example, we have a pension obligation. We don't say, depending on how many people buy weed this year, we may or may not fund the pension. We levy a certain amount of money every year, and also we know what the goal is that we need to get to. So yeah, they're if they don't raise the money with this cannabis tax, they can't do it. This is why it is the job of the federal government, right? Evanston, Illinois. It says the national further in the article, it talks about a national conservative organization, the Project on Fair Representation and Judicial Watch. They've been targeting Evanston with racial discrimination lawsuit threats. So they feeling it, y'all. They feeling it, because how can Evanston decide, first of all, who's black? What does black mean, Evanston, Illinois? What does black really mean? All right, I'll get off my soapbox. We're at the quarter of the hour. We're 15 minutes in. I'd like to bring you some bills, y'all, from the U.S. House, from the U.S. Senate. Let's see what's going on in Congress. I told you, and I tell you, and I say it over and over and over again. We will not get reparations without negotiations. We will not get reparations without negotiations. When we go to Congress, we're going to have to negotiate. So we need to know who the players are, and we have to know the game. So if you haven't gone to my website, I ask, please do, y'all. Continue to make donations. We need a lot of money. Period. Hands down. These young people say period with a T on the end. We got to have a lot of money when we get to Congress, to get to Congress. These mailers, this is not a small undertaking. So I asked, if you haven't gone to the website, please do. Tamara, TAMARA 4FOR Georgia spelled out.com, Tamara 4Georgia.com. Please go to the website. So let's dive in. HR 986. HR 986 is the Robust International Response to Pandemic Act. Robust International Response to Pandemic Act. This is Representative Jesus Garcia, Democrat, Illinois. It says this bill requires the Department of the Treasury and each U.S. executive director at an international financial institution to take certain actions in support of the global response to COVID-19. I looked this up. I just wanted to hear what kind of global response they were talking about. So it says this bill directs the United States representatives to multilateral development banks, such as the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, to assist developing countries as they fight COVID-19. This is the legislator, Representative Jesus Garcia. He says the emergence of new strains of COVID-19 around the world makes it clearer than ever that a global recovery effort is needed to protect our own country. And I'm reintroducing the Robust International Response to Pandemic Act to ensure the IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund, has the ability to provide critical currency support that helps developing countries avoid destabilizing their economies in times of crisis. It says the safety of Americans depend on the ability of the global community to fight the virus. And this bill will allow them to do it without plunging into a recession. So this has to do with the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and assisting developing countries as they fight COVID-19. So this is interesting from Democrats, y'all, Democrats, as they fight COVID-19. What about us? Keeping up with Congress, y'all. HR 987 is to establish a grant program for domestic maritime workforce training and education. This is Sylvia Garcia, Representative Sylvia Garcia, Democrat out of Texas. It says this bill authorizes the Department of Transportation to award maritime career training grants to institutions of higher education and post-secondary vocational institutions for the purpose of developing, offering, or improving educational or career training programs for American workers related to the maritime workforce. So this is Representative Garcia, Sylvia Garcia, Democrat out of Texas. HR 988 is the Recreational Lands Self-Defense Act of 2021, Recreational Lands Defense Act of 2021. This is Representative Gibbs, Bob Gibbs. He's a Republican out of Ohio. It says this bill requires the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to allow an individual to possess a firearm at a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers water resource development project as long as the individual's possession of the firearm is in compliance with federal and state law. So these are Recreational Lands Self-Defense Act, and they are giving them the ability to have firearms at the development project. So here is Republican Bob Gibbs, Republican out of Ohio. HR 989 is the Consistent Labeling for Political Ads Act. Consistent Labeling for Political Ads Act. This is Representative Golden, Gerard Golden, Democrat out of Maine. This bill requires an online platform that displays a qualified political advertisement to, one, display with the advertisement a visible notice that identifies the sponsor of the advertisement, and two, ensure that the notice continues to display if a viewer of the advertisement shares it with others on the platform. It says online platform refers to any public-facing website, web application, or digital application that sells qualified political advertisement and has a certain number of unique monthly U.S. visitors or users. So currently, I know that we have to have disclaimers on political ads. So whenever I put something out that is specific to me running an ad, I do have to have a disclaimer on the bottom. So this takes it a step further by saying that the notice continues to display if a viewer on the advertisement shares it with others on the platform. So say they're running a commercial, they want you to make sure it stays on the bottom. So that's quite interesting for me and other candidates that are considering running nationally. HR 989. This is Representative Golden, Jared Golden. HR 990 is the Block Foreign Funded Political Ads Act. This is the Block Foreign Funded Political Ads Act. This is Representative Jared again, Jared Golden, Democrat, Maine. It says this bill requires certain entities, television, radio broadcasting stations, providers of cable and satellite television and online platforms to make reasonable efforts to ensure that political advertisements are not directly or indirectly purchased by a foreign national. It says specifically the bill requires these entities to directly inquire within the purchase for a political advertisement is being made by a foreign national. It also requires these entities, when accepting a credit card purchase for a political advertisement, to collect the credit card's verification value. So they are intentional, y'all, about trying to weed out these foreign nationals that are buying up ad space and creating chaos in our elections. So this is Representative Golden, Jared Golden, HR 990. So I got about 5 more bills I'm going to bring to you. Got about 5 more bills. We got about 7 more minutes, y'all. And I'm coming over to the clubhouse space because we're going to talk, y'all. We got to talk. We got to talk about the vax versus the unvax. This division is really hurting us. When we got a whole movement, we got to get reparations, else it ain't going to be good for none of us, vaxxed or unvaxxed. So Senate Bill 536, Senate Bill 536 is the Blue Collar Bonus Act of 2021, Blue Collar Bonus Act of 2021. This is Senator Hawley, Josh Hawley, Republican, Missouri. It says this bill allows a refundable income tax credit to supplement wages received by an individual taxpayer that are less than the median wage. It says this bill defines median wage as $16.50 per hour, increased by annual inflation adjustments beginning after 2021. It says this bill also provides for advanced payments of the credit. So I thought this was interesting, y'all. This is a Republican that's offering the Blue Collar Bonus Act of 2021 specific to the minimum wage. I looked him up. I looked this up. I just thought it was interesting because this is how the Republicans are looking to win us over in 2022 with these elections. It says, this is an article, Axios. It says, first look, Hawley to introduce the alternative to minimum wage hike. It says Senator Josh Hawley, Republican Missouri, is jumping on the minimum wage bandwagon and will introduce an alternative to Democrats' proposal. It says that would use federal dollars to increase low-earning workers' income. Y'all, he got a plan to circumvent the Democrats with their agenda or lack thereof for raising the minimum wage. We don't hear them talking about raising the minimum wage. That was something Bernie Sanders was talking about when he was running, but now it's they quiet. But here's this Senator Hawley. He says, this article says why it matters. It says Hawley is a Trump-style Republican who's considered a likely 2024 presidential contender. Y'all, he looking at his run for the presidency in 2024. Young guy, look, he young. He got time, y'all. He got time. He making his way. It says a likely 2024 presidential contender, y'all, is breaking with the mainstream GOP orthodoxy in suggesting that he believes the federal minimum wage is too low. It says he's known now for his role in objecting to the certification of President Biden's election, but as a likely 2024 candidate, his proposal is worth watching for what it says about the shifts in the Republican ideas. Yeah, Republicans know that the minimum wage is too low. They know. So this man is preparing for his 2024 possible presidential bid. It says the bill that this is S536. It says Hawley is proposing a 3-year program that would increase worker wages in 2021. That's this year, paid by taxpayers rather than employers. It says those making below $16.50 an hour would receive a refundable tax credit worth 50% of the difference, paid out in quarterly installments. It says the $16.50 could increase over time as it would be tied to the consumer price index. It says the credit would only apply to 40 hours or less of weekly work. It says only American workers with valid Social Security numbers would be eligible, meaning non-U.S. citizens and undocumented immigrants would be excluded. So this man is serious. We need to keep our eyes on him. He's trying to bridge this divide between Democrats and Republicans around the minimum wage and making his way to the possible presidency of these United States in 2024. Let's keep our eyes on Mr. Josh Hawley, y'all. Josh Hawley, Republican, Missouri. S537, Senate Bill 537 is the Healthy Workplaces Act. Healthy Workplaces Act. This bill allows tax credits for employer expenses for protecting employees from COVID-19. It says specifically the bill allows a credit against certain employment taxes equal to 50% of the sum of qualified employee protection expenses, workplace reconfiguration expenses, and education and training expenses paid by the employer during a calendar quarter. So this is the Healthy Workplaces Act. Representative Rob Portman, Republican out of Ohio. Just a few more, family, and I'm coming over to the clubhouse space. Senate Bill 538. Senate Bill 538 is a bill to repeal portions of a regulation issued by the State Superintendent of Education of the District of Columbia that require child care workers to have a degree, a certificate, or a minimum number of credit hours from an institution of higher education. This is Senator Mike Lee, Republican out of Utah. Now, I didn't really feel this one, Senator Mike Lee, Republican out of Utah. It says this bill invalidates certain provisions of the District of Columbia municipal regulations as added by the final rulemaking of the State Superintendent of Education of the District of Columbia. Some legal language there. It says that require a staff member of a child development facility to have a degree, a certificate, or a minimum number of credit hours from an institution of higher education. The requirement of this rulemaking apply to personnel including your child development center directors, teachers, and assistant teachers, expanded child development home caregivers, and out of school time program directors and group leaders. So it will invalidate. So they don't need to have a degree, a certificate, or a minimum number of credit hours from an institution of higher education. Well, why not? Why not? I mean, come on. Like, what I mean, I want somebody that's teaching my children or teaching anybody's children to have some sort of credentialing, education. Senate Bill 538, everybody. Senate Bill 538. Senate Bill 539 is a bill to direct the Secretary of Veteran Affairs to submit to Congress a report on the use of video cameras for patient safety and law enforcement at medical centers of the Department of Veteran Affairs. It says this bill requires the Department of Veteran Affairs, the VA, to report on its policies and procedures relating to the usage and maintenance of video cameras for patient safety and law enforcement at VA medical centers. This is Senator Capato, C-A-P-I-T-O, Capato, Shelley Capato, Republican out of West Virginia. Just a couple more minutes, y'all, and I'm coming over to Clubhouse. Senate Bill 540. Senate Bill 540 is the Cost of Police Misconduct Act of 2021. The Cost of Police Misconduct Act of 2021. We should probably keep our eyes on this with qualified immunity floating around. This bill has been introduced by Tim Kaine, Senator Tim Kaine, y'all, Democrat, Virginia. The Cost of Police Misconduct of 2021. It says this bill establishes a framework to collect and publish data on allegations of misconduct by law enforcement officers at the federal, state, and local levels. So it says specifically the bill requires federal law enforcement agencies to report data to the Department of Justice about allegations of misconduct by federal law enforcement officers and amounts paid as judgments or settlements with respect to the allegations. It says state and local enforcement agencies must report substantially similar data to DOJ to receive full allocation of funds under the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. So this bill directs DOJ to release annual summaries of the data and create and maintain an online database with the reported data. So this bill, y'all, is to establish a framework to collect and publish data on allegations of misconduct of law enforcement at the federal, state, and local level. So this is Senator Tim Kaine, Democrat out of Virginia. So we are at the half hour, just a couple minutes over. I want to thank you. You know, I come to you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube and right here on Clubhouse. And I bring it over to the Clubhouse space for the next half hour, and we can talk it up and get to the root of some of these issues. So I want to thank you. If you have not gone to the website, y'all, please do. And tomorrow might be touch and go with me. There's an event tomorrow afternoon in Southwest Atlanta that I'm thinking I'm going to. So you may or may not see me tomorrow. I'm going to try. I may even pre-record this so that it will be live. But let's see, y'all. Let me just kind of play it by ear. My desk, if you saw my desk, you would think that, you know, I just don't stop, because I don't. This campaign is fully managed by myself. I do it. And I do it because I've done it, and I've done it for the last 4 campaigns, and I don't believe anybody can do it as well as I do it. And I don't believe this campaign should pay somebody 4 times what it needs to be paying them, because campaign managers are 75 to 100,000. Trust, and we ain't got it. So I do it, and I do this full time for our effort. So I believe tomorrow will be a day where I probably need to be in Southwest Atlanta, but I'll keep you posted, y'all. All righty, we're gonna head out. Please like, please subscribe, hit that notification button, and share Clubhouse. I'm coming over. You are more than welcome to join me on the stage. YouTube, y'all have a great afternoon. Thank you for tuning in for Keeping Up with Congress. I am Tamara Johnson-Sheely, your candidate for the United States Senate. I'm a progressive Democrat that believes that reparations will make America great. It is time that we bridge the divide in this country. Please go to the website. That's tamaraforgeorgia.com. Georgia spelled out.com. Please join me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here for Keeping Up with Congress.